All right, what's up guys? Welcome to another brand new YouTube video. This is gonna be a little bit different video just because you guys are used to me training and stuff like that. But I wanted to jump on here and do something a little bit different. You guys know I'm into bodybuilding as well as powerlifting. And I wanted to introduce someone that I've been kind of cool with over the last couple of years. And this is gonna be like our quote unquote first collab, just because given the whole situation of the pandemic and whatever, this is probably like one of the better ways that we could collab. So I want to invite Jeff Nippard onto my channel. Some of you guys, I would assume most of you guys know who Jeff Nippard is. He has a super big YouTube channel, has great instructional videos for you guys to watch. But Jeff Nippard is number one, a powerlifter. That's how I got introduced to him. And then number two, he is a bodybuilding fan. I'm gonna pass the video over to you and just kind of give an introduction to yourself and we can get started.
Yeah, sure, man. We gotta do this in person.
Yeah.
Before too long. Like as soon as there's a vaccine, this is like my number one priority. Get a lift in at the new gym. But anyway, yeah. So yeah, you pretty much said it all. I started as a bodybuilder, then got into powerlifting because I thought that would kind of accelerate my bodybuilding progress, and I think it did. But then I got really into powerlifting just in its own right. I did 6-7 meets in Canada, qualified for the Arnold, ended up having to drop out due to injury, and that was when I kind of switched back to bodybuilding again. Turned pro in natural bodybuilding in 2014. I did one pro show in 2015, and then since then I've pretty much been like full-time YouTube.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much my whole story.
Yeah, killing it at YouTube too. So yeah, so basically I'm gonna give you guys the structure of this video. It's gonna be pretty straightforward. I just wanted to once again give like a different look from my YouTube channel, but what we're going to be doing here is I'm gonna be going through some poses and some mandatory poses, and Jeff Nippard is gonna be using his bodybuilding goggles and picking up on things that, number one, I could improve on, maybe things that I excel at, maybe things that he sees in terms of if I were to dive into bodybuilding. I know I tease a lot on this channel about like, oh, like maybe one day I'm gonna do a show, or I think that one of my biggest goals is to one day do a show and do a meet. So like, in the same year, cool. Kind of like take that, I mean, I think Paul's done it before. Obviously Alberto's done it before. And then obviously like Larry Wheels, like the big, you know, whatever, but what's up?
I know, I've done it before.
Oh yeah, obviously. Well, wait, wait, so you've done a meet and you've competed in the same year?
Yeah, 1 week out. So I did a meet in, I think, I'm gonna get the date wrong, but it was I think 2014. I did a meet when I was 2 weeks out of the show, which I was super depleted and it was like hard as hell, but it was a really cool experience. I feel like you would crush that. That's a really cool goal to have, because I think a lot of people have this idea that like you got to pick one or the other, whereas like in reality, I feel like they actually complement each other extremely well. Yeah, facts. Yeah, exactly. I feel like if you add an element of one, you could progress on the other. You know what I mean? So, yeah. So basically, I'm gonna take off my shirt and we're gonna run through some poses. Once again, he's gonna tell me what I'm good at, what I suck at, and basically, I just want to get his eye and see like if I were to transition into being a full-time bodybuilder, what my potential could be, I guess, if that makes sense to you guys. Whenever you kind of put when you put a lot of your eggs in one basket, you kind of like shy away from bodybuilding. There's like a lot of different elements of bodybuilding that I don't partake in just because I put all my eggs into powerlifting. Bodybuilding is kind of like an additive to what I already do for powerlifting. But enough talking, let's get straight to the nitty gritty. Take off my shirt. Let's see it.
I did indulge a little bit last night to fuel today's workout, but okay.
You didn't cut your water for this?
No, no cutting water. So let me rise up my shorts. Whew. All right, so.
All right, let's get front relaxed.
Front relaxed.
Nice, man. Yeah, quads look absolutely ridiculous. Your posing is good too. You've done, how many shows have you done, Russ?
I've literally only done one.
One, okay.
Yeah, one.
All right, let's see a front double bicep.
Front double bi? Okay.
Yeah.
So I usually kind of like open up a little bit more. I do have a wider waist, so then let's give that illusion.
Looks good, man. For a powerlifter, your arms are freaking crazy, bro. Like, yeah. That's nice.
Y'all don't realize how hard posing is. Like,
when it's brutal. It's harder than training, in my opinion.
So
like,
when you
the sorest I've ever been was after the pro qualifying show that I did.
Yeah.
And like there were muscles in my legs I didn't even know could get sore.
Yeah.
Like, it's insane to have to hold that for just like hours. Woo!
Sheesh.
All right.
Okay, so I'm gonna give him the look of front double bi again. So this is front double bi.
I'll take mental notes as we go through here, and then at the end I'll give you a synopsis.
Okay.
All right, let's see a front lat spread.
Front lat spread. All right.
Your posing is good, man. I'll give you a few pointers at the end, but overall it's good. I would bring your legs a little closer together.
A little closer?
To be honest, because the more you spread them, the less dense it looks almost. It's like if girls want to create the thigh gap, they'll kind of pose out that way a little more. Whereas I prefer it to be in, flare the toes out a little bit, and that'll give you the quad sweep.
Okay.
You've got really strong inner thighs, like big inner thighs. So like when they're kind of like, you want the opposite of the thigh gap. You know what I mean? You want them like mashed together. So I think just a little closer together is the way to go.
Okay, let me run that back.
Nice, man. Very nice. So now I would do a quarter turn to the right.
Okay, cool. So quarter turn, right.
Yeah, your posing is good, bro. I'm not seeing many of the common mistakes. That's great. All right, let's see a side tricep.
Side tricep? All right.
Yeah.
You hear that? You heard that pop? So like, okay, so for sad try, is it kind of like, you peel it back this way, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
I like to open up because it kind of brings your waist down, and kind of you've got a really big chest, so that kind of shows that off better than if you're kind of like hunched down more. I really like to open that up. And I don't know if you're doing this or not, but one trick would be to, I think you just did it, to push your back knee against your hamstring to really cause that to drop. So like literally like sit down on your hamstring and drive your back knee out into it. That's like something I kind of struggled with. Like whenever I was learning posing, I'm like, how do you? That's like one thing. I was like, let me see if I can.
Wow, my legs are like.
That looks good, honestly. Okay. You've got big hamstrings too, so. Nice. Yeah, that's great. Let's see a side chest real quick.
Side chest. All right, this one I like. But let me move
I know, me too, actually.
Yeah, let me move my.
That's the powerlifter pose right there.
Yeah, move my necklace back there so it's not in the way.
Massive chest. Nice. Yeah, you're good at that one. That's a good pose for you. That's sick.
Whew.
One thing I like to do after a side chest is kind of like go into like almost like an abdominal pose, just as like a transition. Like I feel like this is something we could maybe talk about after, but like a big part of bodybuilding is the presentation of it all, and like it's not just okay, you hit the pose, what are you doing in between poses? And that's what can differentiate an amateur from a professional. It's like the professional just at all times knows how they're presenting their physique on stage, you know? So it's like you're hitting the side chest when you're transitioning between poses, like it's almost like a dance. Like I feel like you would be super good at it if you just like it's like instead of just like going like good bodybuilders and like look at how they transition in between poses, you know? But anyway, let's take a look at the back poses.
Okay. All right.
That's sick, man. Yeah, bring the legs just a tiny bit closer. Yeah, that looks better. And stay on your toes, keep the calves tight, keep the hams tight, and keep the glutes squeezed. Good. Yeah, there you go. Nice. All right, let's see a back lat spread. So now you're gonna plant one.
So same concept, right? Legs a little bit closer together?
They look fine. They look fine.
All right.
Good, man. Nice. Okay, and let's see a back double bicep. Good. All right, let's do 2 more quick poses. We'll do a most muscular pose.
All right. I literally checked my YouTube channel and they clowned me because that's like my only thumbnail. I feel like they said they feel like they've seen this thumbnail like 500 times. Okay.
I know this one is a good pose for you. I've seen this one. Yeah, that's sick. There it is. Do you want to try a hands clasped
Oh, this one? I'm not good at like.
I feel like I'm curious.
Rolling my shoulder, making it.
Bro, that actually looks really good.
Really?
For you too,
okay.
Actually. That's gonna be the new thumbnail.
Modified.
That's actually sick. That's a really good pose for you.
I feel like
you should for sure. And do this one. I'm just curious. Do this one with the hands on the hips.
Hands on the hips. Okay.
With the thumbs forward. That looks savage too. Yeah, those are good poses for you, man. All right. Good, man. You're pretty lean, bro. Like, damn. What's your body weight right now?
I have no idea. Probably like, I would say the way I'm looking, it's kind of hard to say. I would say maybe like 195-ish, maybe 193.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty freaking lean 195, which is good. And I would imagine your caloric intake's probably pretty high, like probably pretty healthy.
Yeah, it's it depends. It depends. That's one thing I need to work on. I definitely don't eat enough calories.
Basically, at this point, I would just treat it like you were a client and you're coming to me being like, I want to be competitive on the world stage. Because right now, I think you could do like an 8-week diet and probably kill it at like a local natural bodybuilding show. Like I really think that you would dominate on that level. But to be dominant on the pro or world stage, you would need to do a few things. So that's what we can go through. So first of all, I think your posing is really good. So like the presentation thing, I feel like all we'd want to work on there is like getting you like a sick posing routine and something that you can just like kind of vibe to and work on your transitions in between poses a little bit, just to like really fine tune that presentation. But I'll probably just pretty much ignore that. When it comes to actual bodybuilding success from a judge's perspective, there are 4 criteria that they look for. A lot of people think it's just like totally subjective, like does he look better than him or whatever. There's 4 things they look for: muscularity, balance, symmetry, and conditioning. So based on those 4 things, in the muscularity department, I feel like you're like maxed out. Like you're as muscular of a dude as I've seen on natural stages, pretty much, right? I mean, you can probably gain a bit more in specific weak body parts, and we can talk about those. Yeah. But when it comes to just like muscle mass, bro, if you get shredded, it's gonna be like already world class, right? So there you're like a 10 out of 10. Balance refers to front to back. So like, are you really like forward heavy, or do you have like a flat chest and your back is just jacked for some reason? Yeah. And also top to bottom. So like, do you skip leg day pretty much? I think for you, you have really good balance. If anything, I think you're a little bit quad heavy when it comes to the legs. Like your quads are huge. It almost reminds me of Big Ramy. Like he's huge everywhere, but his quads are still really big. To the point that like, it almost, you know, you want that perfect X frame where like you got the quad sweep and then you also got the delt sweep. I think with you, your quad sweep is a little bigger than the delt sweep. So that would lose you, in my opinion, maybe a point or something like that when it comes to balance. And then I think the same thing with the balance front to back. I think that your chest is so big that it almost overpowers your back in the back poses. Again, I'm talking about like people who are like the best
top level. Yeah,
the top of the top. So you know, you're almost there with balance, but what I would say would be to probably even out the quads with a little more hams and glutes, and even out the front to back from the perspective of maybe a little more rear delts, a little more direct back work, especially probably lower lats, and we can come back to that. Symmetry, I think you're really, really good. So symmetry is just literally left to right. Like some people have one arm that's way smaller than the other, or like one leg way smaller than the other. I think that you're really good in that department. And as you lean out, you tend not to see those differences. Like one of your quads, I think, is slightly bigger than the other. I think your left might be slightly bigger than your
it's
right.
my left. I figured that out,
But once you lean out, you won't really notice that because they'll both just look massive when they're shredded, and you won't really see it. And you can also adjust that slightly with the posing. So I wouldn't worry about that too much, to be honest. If you started to lean out and it was still an obvious asymmetry, which I don't really think it is, but if it did, you could do just like unilateral leg extensions, honestly. And I think just start with the weaker leg and just do that during your prep, and it'd probably help even it out, to be honest. The last criteria is conditioning, and this is the thing that separates people, because on the world level, everyone has all the other three. Like, they're all genetically blessed. They all have muscularity for the most part. Are you going to be able to get your glutes in? Are you going to be able to really get that crispy conditioning? Because people don't realize this for the most part, but conditioning in natural bodybuilding is better than conditioning in non-natural bodybuilding across the board, especially at the highest level. So that's something that you'd have to do. And I think that is the difference between, you know, posing in the gym and looking really good and getting on a very competitive stage and doing really well. And like you've said that yourself, it's like in powerlifting, you'll say, you know, okay, it's one thing to do it in the gym, but can you do it when, you know, you don't have control over what time you're lifting and the environment and your music and all that shit? That's kind of analogous to the conditioning aspect. It's like, are you going to be able to bring that conditioning on show day? Because that is what's going to separate champions from, you know, second, third, fourth, and so on. So that's pretty much my say on like everything there. In terms of like body parts specifically, I don't think you have a whole lot of weak points. I would say one thing that stood out was the lower lats. And part of that would be a genetic predisposition, but people said that about Phil Heath when he was first competing as well. Like his back was just like not quite mature enough, and he managed to bring that up, obviously with some assistance. But something that I noticed with powerlifters is they tend not to do a whole lot of direct lat work. And I don't know if that's the case with your training, but I think that if you were to include, say, like some cable rows where you're really thinking about like driving your elbows down rather than just like, because you've got big traps, your mid traps and upper lats and rhomboids and everything are really good. So it would just be a matter of like really cueing your lats to fire, especially at that bottom. So like you get the full stretch and then the full squeeze by driving your elbows down. Like you can think of it like a depressed row. That would probably help bring that up. And the other weak points that you tend to see in powerlifters, I feel like aren't actually weak points on you. Like your arms are crazy for a powerlifter. Powerlifters usually have like relatively smaller biceps. And your shoulders are capped. They look fantastic, so that's not really an issue. And your abs are really good. Like even in off season right now, you still have really good abs. So it's like once you get shredded, they're gonna pop as well. Calves would be the other thing that powerlifters tend to neglect, and I feel like you could probably bring those up a bit, but shows aren't usually won or lost based on calves anyway, so I wouldn't make a big deal out of that. So that pretty much covers everything, man. So that's pretty much my whole spiel, man. Like if you had any like specific questions or if you had any like follow-ups or anything like that, but that would be my assessment. I've been to the top shows, I've watched the world streams, I've seen what the best guys look like off season and in competition. And with you, it's not a matter of so much, what do you need to bring up? What do you need to build? It's more so a matter of like, are you going to be able to do the diet and get shredded for stage? Because you've got all the genetic accolades and obviously like the hard work and everything. You've built an incredible physique. So that would be the only thing I would really say, that are you going to be able to do this? That's the question.
Yeah, I think my biggest thing was just like hearing someone, like once again, I always see this on my YouTube channel. It's like, oh, like I would love to do a bodybuilding show, or maybe the summer will be the summer where I compete again. I've done a show before. I think the thing comes in where it's like, okay, I want to hear someone like actually break down things that I could work on. I'm not so much big on like the strengths. It's like, what could I do to get better? That's, obviously that's my YouTube channel or whatever, am I saying?
For sure.
But it's just really cool to hear from your perspective things I can work on. Because when I do post, like me posing and stuff like that, all you hear is like, oh man, you look good. Oh man, you blah, blah, blah. I'm not, like I just said, I'm not really into that. It's more so, okay, what do actual bodybuilders or people that actually follow bodybuilding think about my physique? Because like you said in your kind of like breakdown, when you're inside of the gym, you're gonna look shredded. Like there's, for your everyday gym bro, you're gonna look shredded. but what does an actual competitor, what does someone that actually sees these top level athletes think about my physique, right? So it's still that concept of like, I would still love to do a bodybuilding show, and just hearing at a more sober level from someone like yourself, what could I do to get better, and where do I stand right now? If I were to compete maybe this year, what would that look like? So I think this was cool, because once again, it's like hearing like a person that's around all these like high level people and have been in those rooms with those high level athletes, and it's like, yeah, like all you have to do is just dial into some things, and can you commit to the process of like a show? So yeah.
That would be super cool, man. Like, you know, it's one of those things that like you've gotta really want it, and I know that you have that mentality. Like you would have what it takes if anyone does. But a lot of people, you know, will see YouTubers do a show and it's like, oh, yeah, maybe I'll do a show, and it's like it's tough. Yeah. Like powerlifting is very tough, but in a very different way. Like bodybuilding requires another level of like full-time dedication with regards to like nutrition. There's no like real release until it's done. So it has to be something that like you really feel passionately about. But it would be really cool to see you excel in both arenas, and I feel like you totally could, man. Yeah, you've got what it takes.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
But anyways, I want to appreciate you, Jeff, for coming onto the YouTube channel. Like, I know, it's funny because we've been cool for probably like 2 years now, like in terms of like going back and forth and like the DMs. We don't talk about lifting really. It's like more so just music. I feel like
I'd never talk about lifting with anyone.
Yeah.
Except for like my followers.
yeah. It's just funny to kind of show people, yo, I'm cool with this person. We just don't talk about lifting, or we don't like, because there's a lot of people that, oh, you should collab with this person, you should collab with, I'm like, I'm cool with them, but it never really comes up in the conversation to do this, that, and the third. It's more so just talking about things that we're interested outside of fitness.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but that would be sick, bro. What I would like is, when all this is over, I could come there. You could show me a thing or two with my power lifts, because that's like what I'm really trying to focus on right now. And I could help you put together like a sick posing routine or something to some music, because like we could land on like a song. And I feel like I love the artistic side of bodybuilding too. It's like, that's what I would do. Like, I would just watch like Dexter Jackson pose, Kai Green pose, like Melvin Anthony, like all these amazing posers, and just like kind of copy exactly what they did. And I feel like that would be, if you never do compete, like just posting a sick posing routine would still be kind of cool.
Well, hey man, we need to get you down here, man. Whenever this whole thing clears up, we need to get you down here, lift, chill, talk music, eat, you know, all that kind of stuff. So that'd be super dope.
Yeah, well, what we'll have to do is try to like line it up with like, well, maybe this won't happen, but we could line it up with an album drop and just like go back and forth.
Do a whole music review as we're lifting weights and all that.
But yeah, I have ideas.
Awesome, man. Well, obviously, you guys should know who Jeff Nippard is. If you don't by now, you should go and check out his YouTube channel. The link will be in my description box. So I want to thank you so much, Jeff, for pulling up on the YouTube channel. Much love to you, man. Thank you for critiquing my physique and telling me I ain't shit. And
All right, bro.
Awesome, man.
Keep doing your thing, man.
Yeah, appreciate it. All right, man. Be easy, bro.
Hey, woo! You feeling sturdy, huh? Shake it, shake it, shake it.